Anybody else coming in you guys know about? Whoa, interception. Like I said, to those that just came in, if you want to hand in your homework via email to me by midnight, that's fine. There's my email address. If you want it returned to you, put your address in there. I will actually print out your paper, grade it with a red pen or an orange pen, and send it back to you in snail mail too. But I'll have to have your address. If you don't want any of that, I can actually just read it, send you back your percentage letter grade, and that works too. Doesn't matter to me. You know, it's funny, every time I come in here, it seems like this projector has some sort of issue where if I did not know this projector, I wouldn't be able to get it work that day. But once I get it working, it's great. It's $5 at a thrift store. It's great. Yeah. Anyone go out and get a lot of candy? Does anyone not go out and get any candy? Wow, no kidding. So what do you do instead, out of curiosity, in your household, what do you do instead of that?
Well, when we lived in town, we would be handing out the candy.
Yeah.
This year, we just completely forgot there was a holiday on that day.
Oh, so someone came up to your door, you're like, who are,
No,
oh.
we live in the middle of nowhere, so we completely forgot there was even a holiday called Halloween.
Oh, so you live in one of those houses, if someone walks up to your door asking for candy, that would be weird.
It's like I got
Middle of nowhere houses, windswept places. Okay, got it.
I sat home in my closet and watched YouTubers.
Yeah. And
Oh,
we
To,
live,
like vlog with
our New Year's neighbor is like a mile away, so if anybody shows up, it's kind of weird.
yeah, that would be weird. What'd you
We have
do?
like a carnival thing at our church, so we like help out with that. So it's like games to get candy, sort of.
It's what I usually volunteer at our church has a Hallelujah night, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I usually sign up and I dress up in a World War I uniform and we do darts and balloons and that's fun. I didn't get to do it this year because I didn't have my assistant. She is gone. And blowing up balloons, trying not to get hit by darts and putting the balloons up and awarding candy and keeping everyone back, no one person can do that all at once and not get hit with a dart. What'd you do? Reformation Day thing. What's that? What was that?
Martin Luther nailed up his friend.
Oh, I know that, but what's the thing? Now I'm curious.
We went to our friend's church and watched a video on John Huss, and then we went to their house and played games and ate stuff.
Oh, okay. Has anyone seen the movie Martin Luther? If you have not seen it, see it. It's one from the 90s. Great movie. Reformation Day is the same day as Halloween. That was done on purpose by Martin Luther for a reason. You know, Halloween is one of the longest days of darkness in our entire year. He did that for a reason. Same day. Halloween happened back then too. He knew stuff was going on that was weird in Halloween. Same day, he did that for a reason. Anyone else do anything interesting? Yeah.
We hide in the dark from children. We sit in our house in the dark, hiding from children. He's crying.
From who's like your siblings or neighborhood kids?
Children outside.
So do you pop up? So you scare them, or
No, we just sit in the dark.
so you shut off your lights, you sit in the dark on your couch, and you hear people knock.
You just don't say anything. You caught the shot.
You like doing that? We don't have candy. It's mine. Get out of here. No, that day because in my household it's all about that. So I spent my day making food and a cake because I have a birthday on the same day, and not my birthday, one of my children's birthday. So I used to go out with my kids with a big old flashlight in case you need to club somebody, but I don't do that anymore. So, but yes, here's the information. If you want your grade to be sent back to you, there it is. If you want just a percentage grade back to an email, that's fine too. Otherwise, next time I'll see you, I can just have it with me and I can hand them out if you happen to be here. So, all right. All right, let's get started. I feel like a midget up here with this tiny little thing. We're going to talk about this guy. I'm sure you've heard his name. Anyone ever watch the news here or listen to the radio? You've heard his name, right? Okay. What do you know about this guy? Yes. Old? Oh, okay. All right. I wonder how old he is. I actually don't know that.
Isn't he in like his 80s or something?
I don't know, but he looks better than President Trump if he's in his 80s.
He's younger than Trump, I think.
I don't know. Huh. I have to look that up.
We did research once.
No kidding. He has been the president of Russia for a very long time. And he probably will be that until the day he dies, honestly. That's how it works over there. Guess what? He's a former KGB colonel. And I said we were going to talk about this time. I figured that he was a good place to start because he's a Russian patriot. Is anybody in here a patriot? An American patriot? You all should raise your hands. You don't have to. But he believes in his country. He's a Russian patriot. Why am I holding this? And that's okay. He very much believes in the Russian cause. And this is a different kind of Russia than it was before 1991. Before 1991, it was a red Russia. It was a more communist Russia. Things have changed since then. And in case you don't know, if he is 80, that's impressive because he is a 9th degree black belt in judo. Do not try to punch this guy in the face. I mean, I've seen videos of this guy and he can move. Does anyone remember what KGB means? We said it last time. It's called the Committee for State Security. So a long while back, for him probably 30, 40 years ago, he was one of those guys that would knock on your door saying, hey, you didn't show up to work today. You got to go to work or else. I will send you to Siberia. Yeah, he was one of those guys. We don't know exactly what he did, but we do know he was a high-ranking guy in the KGB. And what happens in the KGB? If you don't do as you're told, you get kicked in the face. Actually, that was my favorite boot that I've made in a while. I did that at 11 o'clock last night. I think that was pretty good. I didn't need a leg. But believe it or not, he is currently immensely popular in his country. Immensely. Immensely. Probably just as or more popular than President Trump in this country. We don't hear about these kind of things very often because a lot of times we hear news, we don't hear all of it. Actually, all the time we hear news, we don't hear all of it. Depends on the news you consume. And consume's a good word for news nowadays. Anyone have a newspaper at home or someone at your house get a newspaper? What kind of newspaper you get? Farm and Famine?
No, just a farm newspaper.
Oh, it's like, wow, I've never heard of that one. Farm and Famine. Yes. Wall Street Journal. Any others?
We get the one for our
County
county.
news? Okay. I get the Epic Times. Anyone else get a different newspaper? Or newsletter? Anything? Okay. Yeah, back in the old days, we used to get something called newspapers. And when you're done reading them, you can use them to start a fire in your ancient fireplace. So I get newspapers. I read the Epic Times. There's a lot of different papers out there. But you know what? Not one of them has completely the whole story. It's hard. Sometimes you have to have multiple papers for multiple perspectives. And he's popular in Russia because the Russian people look at the Ukraine war for basically what it is. It's a proxy war. Proxy war. Can anyone tell me what proxy war means?
Even though they're fighting in Ukraine over Ukrainian land, the real reason they're fighting is something else.
Two greater powers using a smaller power, or one using a smaller power to fight another power. Yes. Who is consuming all of our equipment and money to fight this war? Ukraine. Guess what? The United States is funding a lot of Ukraine's war right now. When President Biden was in office at one time, we were giving $40 billion a month to Ukraine. I remember because I keep track of the news and I wrote it down. Can you imagine that? $40 billion every month for at least a little while to Ukraine. But every month we're still giving them billions, people. How much is a billion? $1 billion. How much is $1 billion? Anyone know what that is? Huh? 1 million and 1 billion are different. How many, what is 1 billion?
1,000 million.
There you go. 1,000 millions is 1 billion. So if you're giving a country,
We were giving them $480 billion a year.
400, was that this last year, I bet?
No, you just said every month.
Yes, that's about right. So we're giving them almost $500 billion a year to fight this war against Russia. And it's not just money, folks. We're just hearing about the money. What else are we giving them? Weapons. What else? Food. Okay, yeah. Tanks. I love tanks.
Aid.
Aid, all sorts of aid. Yes, sure. In a lot of forms. Yeah, humanitarian aid. Yeah. There's a lot we're giving this country right now. And a lot of people don't agree with it, but it's happening. But many view, especially in Russia, that this proxy war is necessary, that Putin has to fight it because, well, I'll go into why in a minute. But he's popular because of this war, because they view it as a big Western problem they don't want to deal with. They look at Putin almost as a defender, and I'll tell you why. And it's not for why you might think it why it is. Why it is. But I'm going to give you some facts about Ukraine because we hear about this. This is Russia now. It really is America now, too. I'm going to give you some facts about Ukraine. Here we go. Basically, guess what, people? There are other nations out there that are modern, just like ours. Sometimes I have to tell some people, like, I've been to Scotland twice. This is funny. And people ask me, some people have asked me what Scotland's like. I'm like, well, it's just like any place you'd find here. It's hilly and it's not like South Dakota, but it's green. Everyone lives in a regular house, regular neighborhoods and stuff. And I have actually had people ask me, don't they wear kilts all the time over there? Don't they live in like mud huts or stone huts? No, they do not. That was a long time ago. But sometimes I have to remind people there are just as modern places out there as ours. Not everywhere, but there are. Guess what? Ukraine is a country a lot like ours. Neighborhoods like ours. Cul-de-sacs like ours. Suburbia sometimes like ours. You ever get lost in suburbia? That's fun. Everything looks the same? Yes. Its next door neighbor is you know who. We're talking about Russia right now. Costs us a lot of money. And it happened to be a place where there was a lot of child trafficking before the war and during right now. We hear about that in this country, and this is an unfortunate truth. There is something called child trafficking. Look it up. It's sad.
Maybe don't look it up.
Yeah.
Don't look it up. Ask your parents.
Yes, ask your parents. Thank you. Ask your parents. Yes. It's sad, but Ukraine, there was a serious problem with this there, especially before the war. I'm sure it's happening now too. It's something we don't hear about, and it's evil. And like I said, we spend billions monthly. You know, it's funny. When I get a newspaper, I have a pad next to me, and anytime I see an interesting fact, I write it down. I have years of facts from newspapers that I've written down and what newspaper I got it from. It's funny, we forget very quickly how much money we give other nations. Why do we give them money? I'll keep going. That's a lot of money, people. How much money do you think it would cost to solve world hunger? Who knows, but billions, yeah.
solve world hunger for 6 billion, and I'll do it.
6 billion.
Yeah.
It'd be more
And
than
they
that.
came up with it, and he decided by Twitter.
It would be more than that. It would be a logistical nightmare too. But interesting. Yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what we could do with solve world hunger, and we spend billions on things that people don't agree on. But let's talk about facts about this war. Unfortunately, no one is going to quit this thing without some sort of gain. Ukraine wants all of its territory back, I guess for good reason. Maybe plus some if they can get lucky. And President Putin does not want to quit the war until he has annexed or fully taking a chunk of Ukraine, and now it's Russia's. At least that. He's been trying to do that. It's not working so well. When a country says they want to annex another's, basically they go, yeah, your property's mine now. And that's it. Because you're weaker and I can just do that. That's called annexing. So if you got a next door, it'd be like if we went to, not to go to Mexico. Mexico's a little weak. America's real strong. I think I want to annex a huge chunk of Mexico. This is ours now. That's annexing. President Putin's been trying to do that to Ukraine so he can gain some land and keep it and maybe, hopefully, maybe end this thing. He's trying to get ahead. I guess I understand why. That's what's going on right now over there. But right now, it's a general bloody stalemate. It's sad. It's nasty. Neighborhoods like ours are become war zones. Can you imagine? No one's really gaining that much right now. And the enormous cost of lives and money is crazy. That's what's going on in Ukraine right now. And a lot of people want this thing to end. Funny, it makes you wonder how fast it would end if we just chopped off our aid. But then again, there's more things going on when we see. Like I said, you can read the news, but it's not always telling you all the truth. Maybe half the truth, but not all of it. Need this up any longer? Okay. I can't tell if that's just majestic voices or some recording. Really? No, that cannot be majestic voices. Too many kids here. How did it start? Basically, I said the same thing. There's always more to know than your newspaper can give you or wants to give you. And to every war, there's more to know than what meets the eye because you're not in it and you're not the people on top. There's a lot of this thing that we don't know, and I won't go into. I know a few things, but not everything. Ukraine has had this national identity for a long time. They've always had some sort of angst and separation, desire to be separate from the behemoth that is Russia. That's always existed. There's a national pride in Ukraine. That's existed for a long time. There's been events in the past that have been bloody stalemates. This is not an old thing. This stuff has happened in the past in the same neighborhoods, the same fields. Interesting. But how did this start? Very simple. This is how it started, at least this modern war in Ukraine. The United Nations. Ukraine was interested in joining the United Nations. Russia, Vladimir Putin, does not want that. Seems simple enough. Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, that doesn't make much sense. Why wouldn't he want Ukraine to be part of the United Nations? Well, the United Nations is not welcoming Russia, but they would welcome Ukraine. And when you're part of the United Nations, guess what? We can put missiles in Ukraine pointing at Russia that are right over a border. That's why Vladimir Putin didn't want Ukraine to become a part of the United Nations. Ukraine hadn't done it yet, but it was about to happen. And Putin's like, I can't allow this because if they become part of the United Nations, they're going to put missiles right there that I cannot stop. I'm pretty sure it's United Nations. It's NATO? NATO? Okay. There's a difference. Yeah, there's a difference. I'll have to look that one up. So many nations have voted yes, let's get Ukraine in. Let's make them part of us. Putin doesn't want that because this is what could happen. Here's some art. You can put a missile in Ukraine and Russia's a couple miles that way. You push a button, there's no way to stop that missile from getting over there. That's what Putin's thinking. Not that it's necessarily going to happen, but that's what he's thinking. And that's the main thing the last thing that tipped this off. Now I'm going to give you an example of American history of kind of what he's thinking. I had to think about this. How can I show this to our class in a way that is would hit very to home? Well, I figured it out pretty quick. Anyone need that up any longer? Covering a lot of ground here. Because I have to. I only have 4 classes with you guys, so. All right. I'm getting better at faces, I think. Anyone hear about the Cuban Missile Crisis? Yeah, what is it?
It's when the Soviets had missiles stored in Cuba, America lost their minds.
Yep, there it is. What happened in the Cuban Missile Crisis is that the Soviet Union had control over Cuba. Cuba is 90 miles south of the Florida coast, people. 90 miles. That's nothing. This was a long time ago. It was in 1961, I believe. Oh, I didn't look it up. Should have looked up the date. I'm sorry. 11 o'clock last night. 1960, probably 1, I think. Anyway, Russia controls Cuba. We have a spy plane that goes over Cuba. It looks down on a beach of Cuba, and there's a bunch of missile launch tubes on a beach. If the Soviet Union was allowed to set up those launch missiles on a Cuba beach, there's nothing we could do to stop those missiles before they at least impact Florida. And this is in a nuclear age, folks. So President Kennedy, who is now gone, he calls up Khrushchev, who was in charge at the time. Why the heck are you putting missiles in Cuba? We become that close to nuclear war, folks. That close. 1 minute from high noon, nuclear war at this point. 90 miles from Florida, we could be hit by missiles. And all of us are close to a nuclear war. That happened in 1960 with Kennedy. This is basically what Putin's thinking. If Ukraine can be part of that group of nations that is generally against me, the missiles are going to be coming soon after. And that's what he's thinking. This is just an old American Russian example of what Putin's thinking right now. I wonder if he'd agree with me on that. Maybe he'll watch my video. But that's what I would be thinking. So, who knows? Anyone need that up any longer? Okay. Cuban Missile Crisis is the only real big thing that Kennedy had to deal with. And he got lucky. We could have gone to war over that. They called Kennedy's presidency the 1,000 Days of Camelot. Sad story. Good story, but sad story.
I think it was 1962.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was. I'm trying to think what year. It wasn't 63. Wasn't 60.
I have my notes from Vietnam here.
Oh, good. Thank you. 1962? Yeah.
1962, Cuba launched tubes.
Yep, that's it. 1962. Thank you, Miss Joy. Thank you. She keeps my notes. Does anyone else keep my notes? You can lie. Has anyone heard of this guy?
How do you say that?
Vladimir. You ever heard of him? What do you know about him?
He is the president of the current president of Ukraine right now,
Correct.
and he is the youngest of the U.S.-Russia trio presidents.
Oh, yeah, he's a young dude.
Ukraine.
He's younger than me. I think he's in his like 38 or 39.
I think he's in his early 40s.
Is he? Huh. Well, he's young.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a televised interview between our president and President Zelensky not too long ago in the White House. President Zelensky comes in to talk to President Trump. As soon as President Trump got back into office again in his second presidential term, did anyone watch that? Oh, they got in an argument in the White House, a big argument. It was televised. It was very embarrassing, especially for Zelensky. Here's what we know about him. He has been president of Ukraine since 2019. He's immensely popular worldwide, though I'm not sure how popular he is in his own country. We don't hear about that as much. Seems like anyone that has an active fight against Russia becomes immensely popular worldwide, whether they like it or not. Yes.
When we heard about the fight between Zelensky and Trump, my mom mentioned that it might have been staged because they're both actors to a degree.
Maybe. Who knows? It's hard to say. Anyway, there was an argument between President Trump in our White House and President Zelensky not long after he got in the president's office again, and it was awful. No president should argue with another president on television. I think that was awful. But that's just what I think. Anyway, what? It was right after President Trump got back in office. I mean, it might have been almost a year ago.
Because I'm pretty sure I had seen on the news that they had gotten together again and like kind of made up.
They made them, and yes, they did get back together after that, and they were more civil, or at least Zelensky was anyway. But guess what? He used to be a comedian, an actor. Before he became president of Ukraine, he was a comedian and an actor, believe it or not. That's what he did for a living. It's funny, you're seeing a lot of people that are actors becoming politicians. It's kind of weird. Keep your eye on that. That's kind of weird. We're not talking about just Arnold Schwarzenegger here. We're talking about more modern people that are actors that are becoming politicians. Makes you wonder why. But that's happening. It's happening. The guy hates to dress up. Yes.
Most of the actors that are becoming politicians are already used to lying professionally.
Exactly. It's funny. I was thinking about that last night. It's like, who better to become a politician if you can be a habitual liar and look people in the eye while doing it? And look good while doing it. But this guy didn't like to dress up. See how I'm dressed right now? He would not be dressed up this nice. He walked around in sweats and a t-shirt all the time. He showed up at the White House with sweats when he was arguing with the president. The next time he showed up, he dressed up a little better because he realized the optics were terrible. But yes, he walked around in sweats most of the time and a t-shirt. He showed up to Congress in sweats. We give him $40 billion a month. He shows up in sweats.
Isn't the United Nations supposed to keep peace between nations?
It'd be nice, but what is it? How do you keep peace? There's no direct way. The only way to ensure peace is complete and total surrender. When you think about it at the end, and no one's going to do that. Because you'll give up everything if you want peace at all costs. Peace at all costs, when you think about it, would lead to a very evil time. Really think about that. And in his own country, he has supreme war powers. And some say he has too much war powers. I mean, when you're a country at war, you're going to have a little more executive decision to be able to make decisions more quickly. It makes sense. But right now, we don't hear about much what's going on in the country besides the war and the victories. But we don't know exactly how much power this guy has, though we do know he has a lot of power in his country. Basically, we don't hear that much from the media. Whatever we hear from what's going on in this conflict is coming from usually way over there or over there. And guess what? Yeah, we can consume media, but generally it's not our friend. It's information, but a lot of media is not our friend. We don't hear the whole story. It's funny, I'm giving you a lot of abstract ideas because that's what we're getting. I don't know what's going on inside of Ukraine besides every once in a while a victory. You won't hear about the failures, not very much. That's what's going on right now. Anyone need that up longer? I mean, I wouldn't even come to this class dressed up in sweats. Could you imagine that? If I showed up here in just sweats and a hoodie with my hood down, you'd think I lost my mind. Anyway, if you become president of anything, at least put on a nice dress-up shirt. Okay. Yeah. So here's one of the problems I do know. I love tanks, and this was the most funny thing. I'm like, I gotta mention this in class. So we're giving tanks, we're selling tanks to our friends in Ukraine, and other places are giving tanks, and there's all sorts of equipment laying all over the place. So I'm not kidding, I saw an ad on Facebook Marketplace, not kidding. There was a Russian T-80 or something tank in somebody's backyard in Ukraine. And the guy's like, well, it's in my backyard, no one's in the tank. He gets on Facebook Marketplace, tank for sale, $200,000, you must come and pick it up. Ukraine, email for details. Yes, that actually happened. I couldn't believe it. But when you send an enormous amount of equipment, weapons, everything else you can send to a country that needs them, this stuff's going to sometimes get lost in the sauce. So, bam, there's an artillery piece in your backyard. Well, I guess it's mine now. Maybe I'll sell it to the enemy for the highest bidder. Maybe I'll sell it to, I don't know. And guess what? Sometimes we have the best intentions. What's that? What do you think that is?
Supply drop.
Yes, wow, you nailed that. So sometimes we fly over countries that need it and we drop supplies on them. Usually it's food, sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's medical equipment, and we fly over these countries that need it, this happens a lot, and we drop supplies on them. Sounds good, right? See a problem with that? Any problems? Exactly. You can drop 10,000 of those over a country. You have no idea who's going to get them. They could fall in the enemy's hands. They could fall into somebody's backyard and looking around. Look at this stuff that was dropped in my backyard. I'll sell it to the highest bidder. That's what happens when we drop stuff on countries. This doesn't exactly go to the right people in the right hands at the right time. Yes, this is your taxes doing this sometimes. So in war, you are unfortunately the victim of a lot of what your government is doing. I got fought when I was in Iraq. Here's a good example. When we would launch artillery into a town or wherever else we'd send it into enemy positions, sometimes those artillery pieces wouldn't blow up. They go up, they come down, and boom, they'd stick in the dirt, not explode. Well, guess what the enemy did? What would you do if you were the enemy? Huh? Dig it out of the ground carefully, put a fuse on it, bury it where you know American positions are going to come, and blow us up with our own material. Yes, that happens. So unfortunately, not always our supplies don't always go to the right places. That's the point. Oh, a little heart for you there. Anyone want a tank? I can give you the guy's email. Tank. You hungry or something? Anyone want a pancake? We're gonna backtrack just a little bit to 1945. We're gonna get away from Ukraine because I can tell you guys are getting bored. Future reference, if you are in a war zone and you find an empty tank that's fully functional, do not get in that tank. Don't do it. Why? Why am I telling you this? Yes.
Probably get shot.
Yes. Before the Iraq War started, this really happened. We flew our planes way over the top of Iraq, and we dropped leaflets all over Iraq. They look like little dollar bills. Sometimes they're white, some colorful, whatever. They would trickle down all over the Iraqi countryside. People would pick them up and read them. They said, I would love to have one of these one day. They probably burnt them in a fire. They said, the United States is your friend. If you find any military equipment, do not get in them, do not stand upon them or near them. Every piece of military equipment will be destroyed. So if you find a tank one day, seems to be fully functional, and you're in a war zone, don't get in it. You'll be surprised how fast you'll be eliminated. Just leave the thing alone. That's why the guy says, you got to come get it. It's still sitting in his backyard probably. But 1945, fun little facts. What happened in 1945?
World War II ended.
Yeah, how did it end?
Surrender of Japan.
Japan surrendered in World War II. What did we do to Japan?
Dropped the atomic bomb.
Yes, 2 of them. Anything else? After that happened and Germany surrendered, the Allies carved up Germany. A lot of countries had different jurisdictions over Germany. And guess what? We just used nuclear weapons. And that made everybody nervous, especially the dictator of Russia, who at the time name was Stalin. Unfortunately, we had to work with this creep in World War II. And Stalin was a creep. People compare him to Hitler. He killed a lot of his own people. He was a creep. But unfortunately, we had to work with him to destroy Germany at the time. But the moment Germany was surrendered, something called the Cold War started. Why? Because you have this huge powers in one little spot in Germany with all the firepower they need, just staring at each other. We don't like each other that much. Sounds like a tinderbox, and it was. We hated working with Stalin, but because a lot of people thought he was as bad as Hitler. And it is comparable. Look up Stalin. Creep. He's a family guy, though. He loved his family. He loved his grandkids. He treated them all real good, but mass murder. Yes. Just like Hitler. So after World War II ends, he's not exactly our ally anymore. Everything but, if you want to call him our ally in name, fine, but we were really nervous about this guy for good reason. He was nervous about us because we had atomic bombs. And all of a sudden, everyone's looking at each other. Oh my gosh, we have weapons that can destroy the entire world and 2 big armies sitting there staring at each other that don't exactly like each other that much, especially after a few months after the war ended. At first, great, Germany's taken, and guess what? No more Hitler. He's burnt on a pyre. He's gone. But now we got 2 mega powers staring at each other, and the tension began. And it didn't take long for Russia to get nuclear weapons too. Yeah, they got those now. They've had them for a while. You know, you can make a same size, the nuclear weapon, the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima, destroyed it. You can make the same nuclear bomb in the size of a suitcase now. Same one. It's called a suitcase bomb. The FBI is very much worried about these things, and they should be. Hiroshima bomb was called Little Boy, and it was a nuclear bomb called the Little Boy. The thing was like from the projector to me, and at least this wide. It was fat. And the next one we sent on Nagasaki was called the Little Man, which was smaller but created the same amount of damage. Now these things can be put in suitcases. Scary. Scary. You know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they're completely rebuilt now. People live there. Completely rebuilt, beautiful cities. But we're talking about the Cold War. Guess what? Everyone wanted a piece of Germany. Germany's rich in resources. They got a lot of things that, wow, we could use because we just spent a lot of money, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and our treasure on taking out the Nazi threat. We want a piece of Germany. We want to get some of our money back. So a lot of allies wanted to carve up Germany, and they did. The U.S. and the Soviet Union got the biggest chunks, and for a little while, everybody else got a little bit of a split of the piece of pie. So Germany was split in 1945 by the big powers who knew better than everybody else. Now we'll see. The reason I had to jump from America, Ukraine, and Russia back to 1945 because I wanted to show you what tension feels like. Cold War was tension, if nothing else. A long period of being scared something was going to happen, but thank God not much did. Got about 7 more minutes. I wonder if I can cover this in 7 minutes. That's the biggest challenge for me, covering what I need to on these short classes. Some people want to have like another day for this particular co-op to teach. Some people don't. I don't know. Because right now we got 4 days. Like 4 days. It's hard to do with 4 days. Plus, I like hearing the angelic voices. So guess what? We carve up Germany. Stalin gets East Germany. USA and others get generally the West. In 1945-47, this is what happens. It lasts a little while, too. And guess what is in East Germany? And this is why Stalin was so happy about getting East Germany. Hey, it's right next door to me. What is in East Germany? It's Berlin. The capital, the crown jewel of Germany is Berlin. That is the capital of Germany. To this day, is in his East Germany. He's like, yes, I got the capital. With this capital in my chunk, I can make it another Russian satellite state. It's all mine. Well, it doesn't work out that way. America's like, no, we want a piece of Berlin too. I know Berlin is right in your territory now, but you can't have it to yourself. We want half of Berlin. So I'm going to show you a map. I want to show you a map and to show you exactly what this meant. I got my printer working last night. That's nice. There we go. We're going to chop up Germany. You're not going to get the capital you want. And this is the first time I've used this particular slide. How'd that come out? Ooh, it came out nice. This was with my Podunk printer at home. Okay, take a good look at this map. This is a Cold War map. They call this the Iron Curtain. Everything over here to the red is basically controlled by Russia. Someone's got to get me a laser for Christmas, please. Christmas is coming up, right? All right. So, see a problem here? Here's Germany. Whoop, right there. See Berlin? Right there. Guess what? America's like, we want a piece of Berlin too, even though it's in your East Germany. So Berlin gets hacked in half, basically. One half of it is USA controlled. The other half of Berlin is Soviet controlled. See a problem? It's not evident at first, usually. I'm going to tell you about something amazing that happened. Leave this up here. June 1948. Stalin is ticked off. The USA and allies are going to officially recognize Germany again as a nation, which means that Germany is going to get free elections. Stalin doesn't want free elections. Free election for West Germany, which is right next door. Normally he wouldn't care about this, but now that since America has control over half of Berlin, which is in his smack middle of his territory, that means Berlin's gonna have free elections and be recognized as the capital of Germany too. I don't want free elections, Stalin says. That goes against my agenda. I believe in socialism. I'm in charge, nobody else, and I tell people what to do. Very different from how America operates. Sorry about the blue. For some reason I don't even know. Stalin doesn't want free elections. And right next door, they're about to happen. So what does he do? He closes all the roads to Berlin. Think about it. His East Germany is full of roads, of course. You know what? I don't like this thing. I'm going to close all the roads, all the railways that are going into Germany's capital city. This city is going to be mine. I'm going to starve out the American side. They will not get food, they will not get clothes, they will not get coal. They will not get anything. I'm going to starve them out because Berlin is mine, Stalin says, and it's going to be mine sooner or later. This is tension, people. Guess what? In Berlin, there's American forces staring over a line with their guns at Russian forces with guns staring back at us. Tanks, everything else too. Right in the middle of Soviet territory, which is in East Germany. Let me show you the map again. Put it down here. I'll put this back up in a second. Look at the map, just to remind you. So Stalin says, I'm going to close all the roads going into my East Germany. That little blue spot is American controlled, and there's even a large force of Americans there. I'm going to close them off so Berlin will fall. It will be 100% mine. I don't want free elections in my territory. That's what he's thinking. Here's your slide back. Stupid printer. So he closes all the roads and rails. What happens?
Do they fly airplanes?
Yes, one of the most American amazing things that ever happened. I will tell you about. America does not take that garbage. This happened in 1948. What we're talking about now is the Berlin airlift. Okay, you close the roads, you close the rails. You got men all over the place making sure no supplies get in illegally either. Stalin's like, I'm going to win. You have no control over the air. Stalin has no control over the air. The U.S. always had it. So President Truman, who was president at the time, flies planes full of supplies over East Germany through that whole through that whole controlled area into Berlin to feed the American side, to keep them alive. There is a plane full of supplies landing in Berlin every single minute for 3 months to supply the American side of Berlin with everything they need. And when I say supply, we are talking clothes, we are talking coal for your coal stoves, food, of course, dolls, letters, Bibles. Everything you can imagine is in these planes landing every single minute for at least 3 months, starting in June 1948. We are flying over the heads of the Soviets, which are tracking our planes with their anti-aircraft guns. Stalin's like, if any of those planes drop a bomb on you, hit them. We are that close to fighting another war right after World War II ended. That's the Cold War. That tension. You imagine that. You're seeing American planes going over your positions. You're ordered to track them. They drop anything on you, you're going to shoot them down. And bam, here comes another war. That tension was the Cold War. And that happened for up till 1991. On and off. Not as bad as the airlift. On and off until 1991. The tension that anything could happen at any minute. Everyone ever hear the doomsday clock? Oh, we're 30 seconds away from high noon, which means everyone's going to die. Or nuclear war, or whatever. That's what it was like up until 1991. And guess what? The airlift never lost a single man. None of them was ever shot down. No plane ever even crashed. Amazing. Amazing. I think that's one of the most truly patriotic American stories I've ever heard in my life. So I share it with students. But this was your reality. This was reality before you were born. That's them, this is us. We have free elections, they don't. We have something called constitutional republics and democracies. They don't. And there's your divide. It's called the Iron Curtain. Winston Churchill called it the Iron Curtain. Now, Soviet Union fell in December 25th, 1991. Significant day, is it not? The last communist flag came down over the Kremlin December 25th, 1991. Guess what? Russia to this day, 70% of Russia is now Christian. They have churches again. They can worship in the open again. They don't have to hide in their house to pray. They can do that in the streets now. Yes, it's a different Russia now. Yes, 70% Christian. No joke. What's going to happen with Ukraine? I don't know. Hopefully it'll end soon. I don't know. I think all of us are just trying to do the best with the hand we're dealt. Hopefully with prayer this will end soon, but we don't know. We don't know. There is a famous picture. Look this up online. There is one guy. It was in 1991. There was a bunch of communist tanks coming in Moscow. There was one guy standing in the road staring at a line of tanks, and they stopped right in front of him. And he stopped a whole line of tanks. A whole line of tanks. It's a famous photo. We don't even know who this guy is, I don't think, anymore.
I thought that was China.
Maybe. Maybe it was China. Anyway, the point is, it's a small rock that can hold back a big wave. A couple bold voices, and when the people have had enough, they've had enough, and things can change. And usually, hunger is a catalyst, and it was. By the time the Soviet Union fell, people were having to use ration cards in 1991 just to be fed. People were sick of it. It's a different Russia now. We're still going to figure out how that's going to pan out too. Are there any questions for me? I know that was a lot. Yes.
Wasn't the, you just said what it was called, when they flew planes,
Berlin Airlift.
wasn't that when the chocolate bomber was flying?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Chocolate bomber?
Yeah, it was an American pilot. He would fill his plane with candy, and he would fly over, I'm pretty certain it was
West Berlin.
Berlin, and he would drop candy from his plane for children.
Huh.
And he was considered
Santa Claus?
something like that.
Wow, I didn't know. That's interesting. I saw another hand. Well, I wish I had another class because I could do better, but that's all I got for you. Thank you. Remember, homework high midnight tonight if you have it. If you